amazing looking guitar, Roy. Exactly how old is it?
1933, I think. This was one of the first of the Nationals that were made. They later went on to make different ones with sort of 3 resonators, and they went into this burnished steel type finish. But this is
I can see that.
one of the old McCoys.
It's been through the wars as well. How long have you owned it yourself?
I got it about 71 or something in the States. This fella was going around selling old guitars out of the back of a Volkswagen. So I was haunted to get it, really, you know.
It's a beaut. Well, talking about back in 71, you're known as an artist who's never really compromised on their music for over 10 years now. How do you feel about sort of trends in music where you get this fashionable band that comes in and zoom up to #1?
What is the system?
Yeah.
You have to accept it, you know. It's getting worse, that's the only trouble. There was a time that you'd get pop records that would score on both fronts. They'd be acceptable pop records, but they'd be a good gritty piece of music. But there's so much formula now and so much sort of microchip music that it's getting a bit too sort of one-dimensional, you know. I like music with a bit of warmth and humanity in it, you know. But you have to accept, I mean, you'll always have, you know, the hard pop scene, and then you'll have the alternative. And I prefer the alternative, so you don't have to sort of trim everything down to sort of 2 minutes, 30 seconds to sort of keep everyone happy, you know.
Right, and perform on top of the pops 3 times a year or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's gone, well, we won't discuss that problem.
Okay. Well, for somebody who has, who is on the alternative, who has a lot of blues, a lot of soul feeling in their music, it's essentially an American-based music. How come you have been hugely commercially successful in Europe, but it hasn't been such a big thing in America?
Well, the strange thing is we've done better in America than is commonly known. It's just that we've done sort of the college circuit and the club circuit, and we did a lot of the bigger gigs with other bands, you know, Deep Purple and the Faces and so on, which were good experience and exposure, but it's not my favourite sort of circuit. No, we've done very well there, really. It's just needing the big album and the coverage to sort of make it stand out more. But I think Europe is obviously our stronghold, but I think maybe we've been able to sort of absorb some of the better things in the old American styles of R&B and blues and rock and so on. And let's put it this way, if you always played in Europe and you'd never been to the States and roughed it in some of the clubs, you wouldn't really have the full shilling, the full grit. So maybe we've been able to get some of it.
I was thinking that, because I was told that you have played your 21st American tour there just before Christmas, which is a 4-month one.
Yeah.
I mean, surely that's exceptionally good all the same.
Oh, it's pretty good, you know, but the thing is that the American scene is sort of very much a sort of a high-pressure thing, and you have to go out sort of, they have these big super groups, you know, like sort of Boston and Heart and all that, and you have to compete with them almost like on a circus level with sort of smoke bombs and all this carry-on, and that's not really our picture. So you do some of these gigs to pay for the airplane flights, and then you do the other gigs for the fun of it and the music, you know. But you have to try and sort of spread your kind of gospel wherever you can, you know. You can't always do it to sort of 500 people in the club every night.
I was going to say, do you actually prefer playing in some small venues like a club, and yet you've done all the major Irish festivals? Which do you prefer, the big open air ones or the more intimate atmosphere in nightclubs and small college circuits?
Yeah, I kind of prefer the clubs in some ways, but by the same token, a big open air thing is a great challenge, and you sort of, sometimes you get a nice thing from the audience that's sort of beyond the performer and the audience. It's a sort of strange, great vibe occurs, or the opposite. So a club is more of a sort of a basharoo, a down-home thing, nose-to-nose thing, whereas in a big festival you have to sort of produce something out of thin air and really think wide, you know.
Rory, what about that particular concert in Germany that you did that was televised throughout Europe to 25 million people?
Yeah.
Did it not faze you doing something as difficult as that?
It did. Once you're at it, it's not too bad. We have done about 3 of these Rock Palace, and the first one, luckily, we'd been down in Switzerland doing a festival the night before, so we hadn't slept or anything, so we were too
Zonked.
zonked to even know where we were. You know, luckily it helped the show because we were sort of at a nice manic edge. But to answer your question, really, if you just forget about the size of the audience and just hope that it's going to go well on the night. You don't really try and count up the numbers, you know.
Rory, would there be some songs that you could sing both acoustically and electrically?
Yeah, quite often you get the odd song on each album that you try both with the band and both on your own acoustic fashion. Sometimes you crisscross on stage. Sometimes we'll do the same song, one night electric, one night acoustic. On the last album there's a song called Ride on Red.
Yeah.
On the last album, Jinx, on the album it's electric, but on stage lately I've been doing it on the acoustics.
Right. So maybe we could hear a bit of it now?
Okay, have a bash, right.
Well, I left my home in Vicksburg, started traveling north. I made it to New Orleans as the bus was taking off. The Citizens Committee was giving away the fares, saying if you can't stand the South, boy, just get on out of here, right on. Louisiana Red, right on. Gotta ride on to your freedom, make those northern states your home. To Shreveport, where we were supposed to eat. I got myself a sandwich, had to eat it on the street. Right on, Louisiana Red, right on. Gotta ride on to your freedom, make those northern states your home. We made it into Little Rock, we made another state. To the whole United Nations, to make one school integrate. Right on, Louisiana Red, right on. And ride on to your freedom, make those northern states your home. Oh yeah. Myself a ball above the Mason-Dixon line. Right on, Louisiana Red, right on. Right on to your freedom, make those northern states your home. Right on, right on, right on, right on, red, right on. Make those northern states